Game day energy starts before the first snap with Chumba Casino. Whether you're killing time before kickoff or celebrating a big touchdown, Chumba Casino brings the thrill of the game right to your browser. Spin the reels, play blackjack, instant scratch-style cards, and more. It's like having a full playbook of fun at your fingertips. Sign up in seconds and score a free welcome bonus. Plus, daily login bonuses each time you return. And here's the extra point. You don't need to make a purchase to get in on the action. So whether you're going for a Hail Mary or just looking for a solid drive of entertainment, Chumba Casino gives you a chance to score some serious prizes without leaving your home turf. It's your move. Start your streak at ChumbaCasino.com today. Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
Football is so much more than a single season. It's something you look forward to 365 days of the year. Just like Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies, too. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side. Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Looking for these better days.
It is Wednesday, September 24th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. As the Major League Baseball postseason races heat up, there are certainly things on the line tonight, tomorrow night. We're going to get to that all coming up here in a little bit. We have a quarterback change in New York, and the Heisman favorite is out with an injury. Lots of stuff to break down here on this episode. Mackenzie Rivers joins me on Better Day, and Mac will start with the big quarterback news in the NFL. Out is Russell Wilson. In is Jackson Dart for the New York Giants.
9 QBR is the stat that he will be left with. And to me, it's outside the top 10 is the stat I'll remember this season for Russell Wilson. He'll not enter the top 10 of all-time winning quarterbacks. Matt Ryan is just a bridge too far for young Russell Wilson. America's always full of second acts. I'm sure he'll do something great in his, media career. I don't know if people want to actually talk to him that much. I don't know. I feel like he'll be hustling, though, Russell Hustle Wilson. But, yeah, the career is over for a guy I think is a Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winner. And you look at his stats since leaving Seattle, some good, some bad, but pretty in line with his career averages as far as passer rating and touchdown interception ratio or whatever. But, today's age calls for, more accuracy, more variety, not just those moon balls, as Chris Collinsworth calls them, more quick game stuff, especially as he ran later in his career. So, 0-3, I'm sure you're not shocked. They had 2 terrible games of offense and 1 good one at Dallas. What do you have to lose if you're Brian Daboll? Try to save your season with the rookie.
Boy, you look at this, the moon ball is just up in the air. I'll tell you, Mike, it's just, he is so good at throwing that deep ball. So it was about time. I think that there's a lot of pressure right now inside the New York Giants organization because they could maybe should have 1 win. They could have 2 wins. They didn't play that poorly on defense. Well, I guess you consider giving up a ton of points to the Dallas Cowboys would be, playing poorly on defense. But the Commanders game, so they lose 21-6. The game really wasn't 21-6. Yes, the Commanders dominated them in yardage, but the Giants had the ball with a chance to score a touchdown, and they got a turnover on downs, right? The Commanders scored a touchdown late to turn a 14-6 game into a 21-6 game. So that one was a little bit closer than the score, although the yardage will say a different story. But then again, I'm just taking away that last touchdown drive. And then the game against the Chiefs, they kept it within striking distance. So they're down 10-6 going into or they're down 16-6 going into the fourth quarter. If that drive results in a touchdown and not a field goal, all of a sudden it's a 16-13 game in the fourth quarter against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? But no, you settle for a field goal there and in the fourth quarter, and then what happens? The Chiefs get a touchdown on the next drive. And then you have 2 consecutive drives where Russell Wilson throws the ball into the tunnel and then to the goalposts and a whole bunch of stuff there. So this season, yes, the results look bad for the New York Giants. I don't think the play on the field is as bad. It's bad. Don't get me wrong.
All right, I was going to say.
Yeah, it's bad, Mackenzie, but it's not as bad as people would tend to believe, on the outside looking in there. So I think a lot of pressure from the Giants' upper management, and maybe this is a move that Brian Daboll knew he was going to make, maybe didn't want to make it yet. I thought it was interesting that in week number 2 against the Cowboys, they all of a sudden put in a package of plays for Jackson Dart, and now he is going to be the starter. So
yeah.
We're going to, obviously, he's got high expectations, and this isn't exactly a soft landing, because you're facing one of the better defenses in the NFL in the Chargers.
Yeah, maybe the best defense in the NFL, at least they were last year, and arguably better this year. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said he might not have wanted to do this, Brian Daboll, right now. Because, yeah, they brought him in game 2 for some packages, and they scored 37 points that game. And they brought him in against the Chiefs for a couple plays, but 0 passes. 0 times where they're like, we want this guy to make a decision on the run. Let's really get him real reps. It was kind of like amateur hour, for lack of a better term. The market's moved a little bit. They kind of see this as at least a near-term downgrade. Chargers were anywhere between 5.5 to 6 all Sunday, all Monday, but Tuesday morning moved to 6.5 when it was confirmed that Jackson Dart would be the starter. I would still look that way on the side.
So if we look at EPA per play on offense this year, the Giants are not the worst in the NFL. The Giants
all right. You're right. It is better than I thought. It is better than I thought. Not the worst.
The Giants are 26th in the NFL. Offenses that have been worse than the New York Giants on an EPA per play basis: Falcons, Texans, Vikings, Browns, Titans, and Bengals. And now, if we look at defensive EPA per play, let's see.
And I guess the Bengals would be there because of the turnovers. They had like 5 pick sixes so far this year.
Yes. And actually, the New York Giants have the 3rd worst EPA per play defense. So,
so you got bottom 6 and bottom 3.
Yeah. Yeah, defense hasn't been great. I guess that's what happens when the Cowboys score that many points on you, right?
The Chiefs could have scored 26 points in that game.
Yes.
They've had a tough schedule, you could argue, being at Commanders, and they're playing the Chiefs already. But it's a lot of excuses for the young season. We knew they were going to have a really hard schedule for as bad of a team as they were last year. It's kind of unfortunate. But how much rope do you see? What is the scenario where this is the beginning of the turnaround for the Giants with this current regime? Like, do they have to win 8 games? Have to win 6 games? What do you think?
For Brian Daboll to keep his job, the Giants, it's so hard because I think he's a lame duck, right? But I think that if they show promise this year, he could keep his job. That doesn't mean that they win 6 games. That means that they're competitive in all of these games. Over-under
right now is 4.5.
Yeah, and preseason it was 5.5. So it dropped a whole game here. If they win 5 games, but in some of their losses they're competitive, and maybe they lose by a couple of last-second field goals, and the team looks better, and Jackson Dart looks good, maybe you can keep your job. But you know what? Rex Ryan was really adamant on ESPN on Get Up with a couple, last week or whatever. And he was, he brought up like the whole Parcells thing, right? And he's like, hey, like, you are what your record says you are, right? And for Brian Daboll, who in his first season was one of
coach of the year,
he was a great ATS coach, right?
Yeah. Best in the league that year.
He's 19-36 straight up overall in his coaching career. Like, how many coaches get to keep their jobs if they finish, a couple of seasons going 23-40. Like you don't get to keep your job. I'm sorry. So I do think that it'll be a completely new regime here for the New York Giants, and that means that Joe Shane's going to be gone as the general manager, and that means Brian Dable's going to be gone as the head coach. And for Joe Shane, unfortunately, like he tried to make up for the Saquon mistake by having a decent draft with Malik Neighbors. You draft Abdul Carter here this year, but then again, those aren't hard draft picks to make. When you're picking early in the draft, it's not that hard.
Yeah,
and
I mean, they hit with Carter. Seems like they probably didn't hit with Thibodeau, but you get a pass rusher in the top 5, you're probably going to have a 50% chance of getting a stud. And that's what they've done.
Exactly. Like, unless, the quarterback's really the position where you can screw up, right? Because you might, Trey Lance. But
happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Zach Wilson was drafted before him.
Yeah, but you're not going to screw up drafting Abdul Carter 3rd overall, okay? You're not going to screw up drafting Malik Neighbors, who, is one of the most dynamic players in the NFL. Like, you're not going to screw up drafting those players. So it's still not good enough for Shane to keep his job. I mean, letting Saquon walk and then having that be all publicized with that offseason Hard Knocks, with John Mara being in the office saying, boy, I'm going to have a really hard time sleeping if Saquon goes to the Eagles. He goes to the Eagles. Yeah.
I think, do they have to choose one? Because I look back at, guys like Mike Shanahan or Bill Belichick with their first stop, Hall of Fame coaches, and they were bad. Most coaches are not great, or not all coaches are great right away. Shanahan was fired from the Raiders. Belichick was fired from the Browns.
Yep.
He only had 1 winning year out of 4. I don't know. Maybe because of his days in Buffalo or his days in Alabama, I still have the feeling in the back of my mind, much like what I do with Mike McDaniel, just guys you like watching the game. I bet he's a good coach. And if you're the Giants, yeah, you have to win. You're right. It's been a decade plus without any winning at all. Is it a bigger risk to just get the next guy in there for the fans to get upset about, or to I don't know. I feel like you have to like the fans just need blood. Like you'd have to give them a GM. You got to give them a coach. You can't run it back. But I'm not sure. Kind of like with Tom Thibodeau, people want a new face. I'm not sure it's necessarily the best bet.
I would agree, because like who are you hiring? Like, if the Giants bring in the next hot shot youngster in the NFL to be their head coach next year, what's that going to look like? Like, what has Dave Canales done so far? What has Liam Cohen done so far? Like, what is, Ben Johnson? The jury's out on some of these guys, but like, we just don't know. Okay. Like, we don't know. And you have an organization like the Raiders who goes out there and says, okay, we made the mistakes. Now we're going to like bring in a senior guy who might only be here for 1 year, but at least he brings some sort of, there's like a parent in the room now, like he knows what to do. And I don't know if there's a guy out there for the New York Giants, and it's contradictory to what everybody else is doing, with the exception of the Raiders. But maybe that's the move. Maybe it's bringing in somebody to be that, person in a year or two. I don't think it's Belichick because of
the UFC. I was just going to say, before the UCF game, you could make a Belichick argument. Now you can't. That's what happens on a Saturday.
I don't know. I just couldn't see him being one and done.
I just think people think he's not good anymore. Like, I'm not saying I know football well enough to look at whatever Belichick's doing on a schematic basis, but you lose a couple years in the New England, you go to UNC and you're immediately much worse than expected. Sometimes you just lose your fastball. So I think Pete Carroll might have lost his fastball 5 years ago, and we wouldn't know. And he's chewing gum loud enough and talking fast enough where he can pull it off. But how many people can really tell? I don't know, other than just looking at results. And again, results are not always indicative of how good a coach is.
Who's the best, unemployed NFL head coach right now?
Yeah, last year was probably Vrabel. There was a few last year. This year,
Vrabel made the most sense. But who's the? I don't know. Who's the? I guess you're gonna have a retread, right? Like I think Brian Flores probably gets a job.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe like a first time head coach that still kind of feels like a retread, like a Joe Brady with the Bills. He was that hotshot name, and then he got demoted in Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Unless it's a college coach that comes into is there going to be a college coach that goes to the NFL?
Yeah, maybe the Miami guy. Like it would have been who's that guy in USC for years, and now, you live long enough, you're not good anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you mean could there be could we have a college coach go to the NFL? We saw Harbaugh leave Michigan and come back to the NFL. Could Lincoln Riley?
Mike Gundy's available.
Yeah, he's a man, and he's not 40 anymore. That's going to be something to keep an eye on if we do see, maybe somebody, I don't know. Going to be fascinating to see the coaching cycle. How about this? Giants hire Greg Schiano to be their head coach. He leaves Rutgers after 17 years, comes back to the NFL, and he brings the gutsy Jersey mentality to the New York Giants. How about that?
I love it. Rename it the New Jersey Giants. Like, just bring it on home.
And he gets into fights with other teams because when they try to kneel the football down, we're going to dive at your legs. I think Greg Schiano invented the tush push, except he was doing it on defense when other teams were kneeling the ball down, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. No one kneels out on us.
Like the
Not
Bucs,
without a fight.
The Bucs were causing fights because they were diving at the center's legs when they were trying to snap and kneel the ball down. It's great. Trying to recover fumbles there. All right. Well, that's the big story in the NFL, obviously. Jackson Dart starting here for the New York Giants. Couple of other, ancillary pieces here, stories in the NFL. Injury news. Mike Evans is going to miss some couple of weeks here with the Tampa Bay Bucs. So the Bucs are just decimated by injuries now. They really need to get Chris Godwin back. And what's crazy, Mackenzie? It's every year. They can't get Godwin and Evans on the field together.
Right.
They just don't play on the field together. And now Godwin's ready to return, and Evans is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. This team can't catch a break.
And yet they're 3-0 in games where they were trailing, in the fourth quarter so far this season. So, you bank those wins, you can afford a little bit more these type of injuries, and going forward, they're in commanding lead in the South.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's all these seasons. Hey, they can't get these two on the field at the same time.
So Evans is going for the Jerry Rice record of most 1,000-yard seasons.
Yep.
Before this injury, he was one of the most targeted, least efficient receivers in the NFL from a yards per target or EPA per target. Do they force feed him even more when he comes back?
No,
if they're still leading in the South.
I think last year was the year that he was being force fed. Remember we bet those props the last week of the season because he was going to.
They were throwing
tie.
for it, up one score and late in the game. Yeah,
yeah, because they were going to tie. He was going to tie Jerry Rice. I think with the injuries this year and the Bucs kind of having some bigger aspirations, and maybe he's not on the field as much. You got Babuka now. I think if Evans ends his career and finishes just tied with Jerry Rice, I think he's satisfied. Now, I don't know that personally, but it just feels like...
and he'll still probably want to go for it, but it's not like, all right, let's try to get you 120 yards. Eventually they got to let go of the ghost. He's too far behind.
In Tennessee, Brian Callahan has given up the offensive play calling duties.
I thought you were going to say the head coach play duties.
Quarterback,
he's 3-17 ATS.
Quarterbacks coach Bo Hardigree will call the offensive plays. So that's a little change there. So 3 games with Cam Ward, and he was like, screw this. I'm not calling any plays anymore.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of the last death flail that we see with coaches. Like Doug Peterson last year let Press Taylor call plays. And usually it's desperation time when you start making that decision mid-season to make a big change like that.
Any movements in the market over the course of the day yesterday that intrigued you?
Yeah, a couple moves. So we don't know about Marcus Mariota or Jaden Daniels, but the market seems to be more optimistic on the Falcons. They were 2.5 3-point favorites earlier on Monday. They're now 1-point favorites. The Commanders are at Atlanta. So maybe a Mariota revenge game is in the cards. Yeah. And on Thursday Night Football coming up, the Seahawks are now road favorites. It's been a full flip from Seahawks dogs at Arizona to now Seahawks 1.5-point favorites at Arizona.
Interesting. All right, let's transition to college football, where the big story yesterday, yes, Mike Gundy did get fired at Oklahoma State. That was pretty much expected. Surprised that it happened on a Tuesday and not like on Monday, but maybe they, who knows what happened. But anyway, he is out there. It was about time. It was about time. A lot of coaches just haven't been able to adjust to the new world that we live in college football, NIL, transfer portal, all that stuff. And the performance this year for Oklahoma State has been disastrous. So Gundy has been relieved of his coaching duties. But the bigger story, which affects the play on the field this season and the awards market, is the Heisman Trophy favorite, Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer, is going to be out a month. He is undergoing a procedure on a broken bone in his right hand. That is his throwing hand. He
so the former favorite.
Yeah, well, now he's off the board up on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Mateer suffered the injury in the game last week against Auburn, and so he's going to be out a month now. And here's where the Heisman odds stand right now, up on the FanDuel Sportsbook.
Are we including New Jersey players, or are we not including New Jersey players? That's very important.
Well, yeah, what Jersey players are you going to include here? I mean, Ethan Kaliakmanis, I guess? No. Fernando Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback, is your favorite at plus 850. Dante Moore of Oregon, he is your second favorite at plus 1,100, tied with Jeremiah Smith, the wide receiver from Ohio State. Miami quarterback Carson Beck is next at plus 1,400, same odds as Texas A&M quarterback Marcel Reed and Georgia quarterback Gunnar Stockton, and the dark horse candidate that I talked about probably 2 weeks ago at over 35-1 odds, Jaden Maiava, the former UNLV quarterback, who's the quarterback now at USC. He is having a tremendous season. Maiava right now is plus 1,400, tied with Gunnar Stockton and Marcel Reed and Carson Beck. So I think that is an interesting name to watch. I think this race is wide open.
Yeah, the odds say that. Usually there's a favorite at this point. There's really not.
Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, he's still plus 1,600. I think this, as I mentioned, I think this race is wide open. Like, there's going to be a stretch of games where somebody is going to have a good 3-game stretch, and it's going to happen at the end of the season, or it's going to happen in big-time conference games. Like we talk about having a Heisman moment. There's going to be a winner of this award that jumps out from nowhere and winds up stealing this. Like maybe it's Haynes King of Georgia Tech at 25-1. Maybe it's Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt quarterback, at 33-1. Does Arch Manning get back into consideration? He's at 40-1 right now. CJ Carr of Notre Dame is at 50-1. Here's another dark horse. He started the last 2 games for Ole Miss because of injury to Austin Simmons, but Trinidad Chambliss in 2 games at Ole Miss at quarterback, taking over for the injured Austin Simmons. 719 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's rushed for 195 yards and 2 scores.
Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss.
And I'm telling you, I don't think that they should go back to Austin Simmons. The offense is cooking right now under Chambliss. And so he's at 50-1 right now to win the Heisman. I think anybody right now is worth a sprinkle, because these odds are certainly going to fluctuate each and every week, and I don't think that there is a true favorite right now. With all due respect to Fernando Mendoza, this is going to change every single week. So I don't think there is a true favorite. So
yeah, if there was a field versus a guy from Indiana, I would take the field most every time. It's going to be someone that's in the playoffs, and that might be Indiana. It's going to be, because it's so wide open, I feel like it's going to be one Monday when there's a big story, like, got to look out for this team. That is just going to be the momentum that carries one of these guys through. Because, I don't know, is there Travis Hunter? Is there someone that's going to stand out from the pack? Otherwise, I think it's usually going to come down to record.
Yep.
To separate these guys.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It could start this weekend, because this is an incredible weekend of college football. Plenty of big-time matchups on the schedule. We'll talk about those a little bit later on this week. But let's get to the postseason races in Major League Baseball.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Good night for us up on BetterDay.com and Major League Baseball. We did go 3-2 in our picks, but all 3 wins were plus money dogs. We had the Guardians over the Tigers, and they won 5-2, despite Tarek Skubal on the mound for Detroit. The Guardians, with the win, are now tied with the Tigers for first place in the American League Central Division. The race is on. This is unbelievable. We cashed with the Red Sox as dogs over the Blue Jays, and how about the Diamondbacks winning as dogs against the Dodgers, despite Shohei Ohtani pitching into the 6th inning for the first time this season. 6 innings, 5 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, and 8 strikeouts for Shohei Ohtani. But once again, the Dodger bullpen unreliable. Tanner Scott blows the save. The Diamondbacks walk off with 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th. And that's part of the reason why I don't trust the Dodgers in the postseason. I mean, this bullpen is a liability for them right now, a significant liability.
For the first time I remember seeing all year on the odds board, they are now 3rd favorite behind the Phillies and the Seattle Mariners to win it all. The Seattle Mariners? Wow. Did not expect that.
Yeah, Mariners they don't lose. They don't lose baseball games. The Mariners have now won 5 straight, 9 of their last 10. They are 4 games up on the Astros in the West.
Like, they have better odds than the Brewers? Man, that came out of nowhere. I thought the Brewers were dominating and the Mariners were 50-50 to make the playoffs, but I guess 9-1 in their last 10. You're right.
Also walking off last night was the Yankees over the White Sox. Combine that with the Blue Jays' loss to the Red Sox. The Yankees are now 1 game back of Toronto for first place in the American League East. But as I mentioned every single episode, it's actually 2 games because the Blue Jays have the tiebreaker. So there's still plenty of games left to make up this deficit. But it says 1 game in the standings. It's really 2 games that they're going to have to make up here over the Toronto Blue Jays. Mets get a big win combined with the Reds losing. So the Mets are now in sole possession of the 3rd wild card in the National League. Both Cincinnati and the Diamondbacks are 1 game back. So let's take a look now at the games for tonight as far as the big ones for the postseason are concerned. You have the Tigers and Guardians doing it again from Cleveland. This time, Cleveland is the favorite. Tanner Bybee's on the mound for the Guardians. Jack Flaherty goes for the Tigers. Cleveland is minus 125. Reds are hosting the Pirates. Paul Skeens is on the mound for Pittsburgh. Hunter Green goes for the Reds. This is a incredible pitching matchup. Reds are a small minus 120 favorite. And Skeens hasn't looked good. I mean, his last start, he didn't look good, where he only went 3 2/3 innings, gave up 3 runs on 7 hits, including a home run. I did bet the Nerfy in that game and lost it with Paul Skeens. I just think that could fatigue be setting in at this time of the season,
Apathy.
And also, how deep is he going to go into the game? I think you got I'm betting the Reds here to bounce back after the loss. I know it's Paul Skeens. I know it's great. I know he's great, but I don't know how long Skeens goes in this game. It's, his last start of the year. Why push him? Why stretch him? He's already won the Cy Young. Let him go out there. He'll throw a couple innings and then, you see what happens here. And I'm back in Hunter Green at home. The Yankees will host the White Sox. Max Fried on the mound for the Yankees. Going for the White Sox is Frazier Ellard. And Yankees had a champagne celebration last night after clinching a postseason spot. Now, there still is work to be done, so I don't think they come out flat here. But I might maybe a first 5 under. Maybe the Yankees offense is tired after the champagne celebration here last night. But
So we've talked about it many times this year. We got to talk about it at least one more time. White Sox have 5 games remaining. They've lost 3. Do they get to that 8-game losing streak?
Well, that doesn't know. It's the bet is the 9-game losing streak.
Oh, is it 8.5? I thought it might be 7.5.
That was over 8.5. Yeah, it's a loser.
Damn,
you already lost.
I knew it was going to lose at this point, but I just wanted one more heartbreak.
Nope.
About.
Red Sox are at the Blue Jays. Garrett Crochet on the bump for the Red Sox. Max Scherzer for Toronto. Boston's minus 145. I like the Red Sox team total here because I think that they will hit Scherzer. And Scherzer's been giving up runs early in games. He gave up 7 runs to the Royals his last time out. 2 before that to the Orioles. 4 before that to the Yankees. 4 before that to Milwaukee. 4 before that to Minnesota. Red Sox team total over 4.5 is my best bet for this game here tonight. Mets are at the Cubs. Jonah Tong on the mound for the Mets. Matthew Boyd goes for the Cubbies. Mariners will send Luis Castillo to the mound, hosting the Colorado Rockies. Dodgers at the Diamondbacks. Ryan Nelson for Arizona. They're plus 135. Blake Snell goes for the Dodgers. They are minus 160. And the Astros are at the A's. Not sure what the starting pitching matchup is going to look like for the Astros. Luis Severino scheduled to go for the A's. So those are the games of relevance for the postseason here tonight. One other bet that I do like tonight, Taj Bradley's on the mound for the Twins against the Rangers and Jacob deGrom. I think the Rangers are just going to beat up on Taj Bradley because everybody has. So give me Rangers team total over in that game here against Taj Bradley and the Minnesota Twins. These races are fascinating, Mackenzie. You look now at the markets here. Up on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Blue Jays minus 310 to win the East. Yankees plus 240. The Yankees, as I mentioned, are 1 game back, but they still have to make up another game. But let's say the Yankees win here tonight and the Blue Jays lose. The 2 teams will be tied. There will be 4 games left in the season. The Yankees just have to beat the Blue Jays by 1 game in those 4 games. So if the Yankees win out and go 5-0 for the rest of the season, and it's 2 losses for Toronto, then maybe worth a little bit of a sprinkle here. Next,
they can easily win out. I mean, home games against the White Sox and Orioles is how you'd want to do it.
Yeah, and after this series against the Red Sox, the Blue Jays will finish with 3 games at home against the Tampa Bay Rays. And who knows? Maybe the Rays are feisty and they beat them in one of those games. Like, would it surprise you if the Red Sox not only win tonight, but then win tomorrow night and they sweep the Blue Jays? And then maybe going into that final 3 games, the Yankees are actually, up 1 game on the Blue Jays. Wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. So maybe plus 240 it's an interesting angle. Then again, you might just be better off doing Yankee money line rollovers for the next 5 games, right?
Does the league want to see the Yankees play the Red Sox in the wild card round, though? That's what would happen, right? The first 2 wild cards play each other?
Yep.
So I don't know. Conspiracy Mackenzie thinks there's 5% balls and strikes being skewed by that possibility.
Here's what's wild: the Guardians are now minus 210 favorites to win the Central, and the Tigers plus 170.
Wow! Even though they're tied.
Yep.
I mean, I guess momentum is a thing.
Well, and they're also they're favored tonight. So
okay, yeah, that's big.
So keep in mind that on September 12th, the Cleveland Guardians were plus 10,000 to win the Central.
100 to 1.
They were
So
plus
you're saying there's a chance
10,000 to win the Central, and now they are minus 215. From plus 10,000 to minus 215 in what, 10 days? That's unbelievable that you can do that in 10 days. Well, you know how you do that in 10 days? You go 9-1, the other
Right.
team goes 1-9. That's how you do that here. And then the MVP race, Judge and Raleigh are even, minus 115 each. So,
Wow, that was out of nowhere. Yeah, what happened? I guess he's up to
That's it.
58 home runs with
Raleigh keeps
Raleigh.
hitting home runs. I mean, that's why. I mean,
It also shows you how not predictive these odds are. Like
No.
Judge would go to minus 2,000 overnight, and maybe there was some intel and hearing about voters. Wow, I'm surprised to see it's back to even.
I've said this before. The more I think about it, the more I know it's the wrong answer. But Cal Raleigh's
Right.
going to win. Like,
But as a bettor, you're assessing who is like what answer is going to be made, and not if
Yeah.
it's right or wrong.
and Raleigh's going to win the award. Like, it's just it's going to pain me because I have so much money invested in Judge to win the MVP, and I believe that Judge is the MVP. And
Yeah.
it's like, I think sound baseball minds know that Judge is the MVP, but Raleigh's going to win it. That's it. He's going to win. He's going to hit, if he finishes with 60 home runs, people are going to vote for him. And even if he doesn't, they're just going to say, hey, switch hitting catcher that just hit 59 home runs and the team surged at the end of the year and they won the division. he's going to win the MVP, and he's going to go down as the lowest batting average in baseball history to win the MVP.
You look at his career, I mean, it's going to just be one of those years. It was OPS of 500, or he's a rookie, 750, or he's average, 760 is average, 750 is average, 940 this year, which is like pretty good. But guys pop up and do a 940 season every now and then, and he's going to be very average for a few more years, and we'll be like, who won MVP in 2025? It'll be a shame. It'll be a travesty. It'll be the equivalent of Malcolm Brogdon over Joel Embiid for Rookie of the Year. It's like, who? What?
I mean,
whatever.
Mackenzie, there's over 100 somewhat players in baseball that have a higher batting average than Cal Raleigh. like the league average this year. I'm going to give you the Major League Baseball league averages. All right. And this is, to me, this, again, the home runs are amazing. The league batting average this year is 246. Cal Raleigh's batting 245. So you're telling me the MVP of the league has a lower batting average than the league average, the standard league average. Standard league average on base percentage is 316. Okay, Raleigh's a little bit higher. He's got the 359 on base percentage. That's awesome. Like, good for him. Okay. The total bases is 13.62, but you got to multiply that by the games, right? So let's see, 13.62 times what? How many, if you played 100 somewhat games, right? Like how many?
160 games or so.
So let's say we'll do 100 and do 160. No, that doesn't make sense. I don't know how to figure that out. But anyway, Raleigh's got 337 total bases. Aaron Judge has 350 walks. Judge has 120 walks. Cal Raleigh's got 95. The strikeouts, Aaron Judge, he's such a big strikeout guy. He's got 157. Raleigh's got 180. Like stolen bases is 14-12. Like they're pretty even there. But like on base percentage, Judge has the highest on base percentage in Major League Baseball at 452. There's no other player in baseball that has an on base percentage above 400. That's the definition of the MVP. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
and if you look at like how well the team does when he's there versus not there, or when he hits versus not hits, the Yankees are currently favored or third favorite to win the World Series. Mariners are second favorite. I think Judge is a lot more the reason why the Yankees are still in that conversation.
Oh, for sure. Like, yes. And there used to be the argument that, if you take Judge off the Yankees, like they're fine or whatever.
They still have Garrett Cole. They still have,
But they didn't. They lost all those games when he was out.
Yeah. And
they lost those games when he was out.
Giancarlo Stanton is now like DH or like a bench player.
You want to know what's amazing? If it wasn't for Shohei Ohtani, like Juan Soto's the MVP in the National League. Juan Soto has the second highest.
Second half.
Second highest on base percentage in baseball, 399. He's got 104 RBIs on the season. He's hit, 42 home runs? Now, his average stinks, too. I mean, it's 267. That's a terrible batting average.
Better than league average nowadays.
Oh, it's
as you pointed out.
Better than league average. But
I could hit better than league averages.
Yeah.
In 6 games?
But, yeah, it's a great second half there for Juan Soto. Boy, if the Mets missed the playoffs, having Juan Soto hitting 42 home runs and 104 RBIs, and Pete Alonso with 37 home runs and 123 RBIs, that's pathetic. But hey, there
will be blood. There will be managers rolling, heads rolling.
All right. Don't forget, we have sportsbook promos for you up on the website. If you go to betterday.com and you click on the sportsbook promos tab, you can find the state that you are in and get the latest sportsbook promos that we have offered for you, or just check out our newsletter. At the bottom of the newsletter, you will see your sportsbook promo link there, and you can click on that. We have a couple of books right now. We're working on adding more sports books. So it's all about giving you guys the best promos when you sign up for these websites. Free money is the best kind of money, right? So
absolutely,
we're always trying to work with some books and get you guys the best offers that we possibly can. So be on the lookout for that. Follow Mackenzie Rivers on Twitter at Mackin Rivers. You can follow me at Scott's on Air. I'm Scott Seidenberg, and here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
Attention all small biz owners. At the UPS Store, you can count on us to handle your packages with care. With our certified packing experts, your packages are properly packed and protected. And with our pack and ship guarantee, when we pack it and ship it, we guarantee it. Because your items arrive safe or you'll be reimbursed. Visit the upsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today.